Big news from OpenAI last Friday. They announced Operator is a new product from OpenAI, an AI agent, the first of its kind, and it can do specific tasks for you. So in this video, I want to come back to this announcement. They released a live stream on YouTube where they demoed what Operator can do. So we will be watching this video, pausing the video at specific key moments so I can give you some extra information, but also my thoughts on what Operator can do. All right, so if you are interested in this brand new product from OpenAI and learn what this AI agent can do, well, keep watching.
Good morning. We've got something exciting for you today. We're going to launch our first agent. AI agents are AI systems that can do work for you independently. You give them a task and they go off and do it. We think this is going to be a big trend in AI and really impact the work people can do, how productive they can be, how creative they can be, what they can accomplish. We're starting today with Operator. Operator is a system that can use a web browser, in this case, a web browser in the cloud, to accomplish tasks that you give it. And we'll show you a demo in just a second, but it's really quite cool what it can do. Just like you would use a web browser, you can get pixels in, you can look at a screen and control, an Operator can do that and then control the keyboard and the mouse and do all sorts of things. This is going to go live today in the United States for pro users, and it'll be other countries soon. Europe will unfortunately take a while, and we'll also in the coming months make it available to plus users. This is an early research preview. We've got a lot of improvements to do. We'll make it better, we'll make it cheaper, we'll make it more widely available, but we really want to put it in people's hands. We'll also have more agents to launch in the coming weeks and months, but that said, we'll talk more later. So excited, just want to show you a demo.
Okay, so before we watch that demo that Sam is talking about, I want to quickly sum up what has been said in this introduction of the OpenAI live stream. So Operator is OpenAI's first agent, right? And when we talk about AI agents, we talk about AI systems that can work independently for you, work on tasks for you. And the way it works for you is that it will operate a browser, and within that browser be able to do pretty much what we can do as humans when we navigate a web browser. So we can move the mouse, we can click, we can touch buttons, we can scroll. So Operator can do all of that because it has been trained for that within a web browser. We also learned that it's unfortunately only available for US users, that as always, Europe will probably come last. So if you're in Europe like me, well, sorry guys. And we also learned that it's for ChatGPT Pro users only. And they also mentioned that it will eventually become available to the other paid ChatGPT plans. So that is ChatGPT Plus, ChatGPT Teams, etc. But for now, only US Pro users, so those paying the $200 plan every month. And then last is that more agents are probably to come, and that's a good news. What we are going to see in this video is the first agent, Operator, so we might expect other agents that will have probably other names being rolled out in the coming weeks, coming months. Before we continue that video and jump into that demo that the guys from OpenAI are about to show us, I kind of want to pause here and jump forward in the video to something Sam Altman is going to say towards the end of this live stream that I believe is very important for us to understand what this step of launching Operator, launching their first AI agent means for OpenAI as a business in general and in their vision of what they are trying to accomplish. So we are going to jump to minute 23 and a half of this video, so almost the end of the live stream, because we are going to learn an important piece of information there that I believe will set the scene for this launch of Operator.
So this is really the beginning of this product. This is the beginning of our step into agents, level 3 on our tiers.
What is Sam Altman talking about here? Well, I have searched for these tiers and I have actually found a document or a slide taken from a Bloomberg report that mentions the 5 different tiers that OpenAI envisions when it comes to reaching this super artificial intelligence. So on this slide, we can see the different levels, the different tiers or stages stages of this quest to reach super artificial intelligence. So level 1 would be chatbots, so AI with conversational language. So that would be OpenAI launching ChatGPT back in 2022. Level 2 would be reasoners, okay? So models that can reason, human level problem solving. And we've seen this with the launch and the release of new models like the O1 model, for example, O1 Mini. It was first O1 Preview, then O1 Mini, and O1 Full, which is available to paid users right now. These are models that can reason. So they will, before giving you an output, they will just think. You will see it's going to be written thinking. So that is the reasoning that they are operating before proceeding and giving you an answer. Those are level 2. And now with the release of Operator, which is the first AI agent, we are stepping into level 3 of this pyramid of stages of the intelligence, so to speak. So agents are systems that can take actions. It's basically a brand new field of models, a brand new category of models that will kind of take OpenAI to the next crank, the next echelon on this pyramid of reaching super intelligence. So that is interesting. That is what Sam Altman is referring to at the end of the video. But I believe that I would give you this information, show you these stages early in the video so we understand why is this such a big deal for OpenAI and for the entire AI industry in general, I believe. Because once again, OpenAI seems to be the first company to put this out there on the market for people to experiment with and play with. They did the same thing with ChatGPT. And then obviously a lot of other companies, a lot of competitors have come in with like lighter version, easier version, cheaper version of what ChatGPT can do. But originally they were the ones putting it out there on the market in the hands of the people. That's something they really like doing. That's their modus operandi at OpenAI. All right, moving on in the video, how does Operator work? What can it do?
Operator is an early research preview. It will do a lot of cool things. It also makes mistakes, sometimes embarrassing ones. But let's show you what Operator can do. Okay, so this is the Operator homepage. It lives at operator.chatgpt.com. It'll be accessible as soon as the live stream is over. And as you can see, the interface is very similar to ChatGPT. You can type in a prompt, and an Operator will try to execute the task to the best of its capability. You'll also see we have a list of pre-filled prompts here. These are not really meant to be recommendations. These are meant to be things that, to give you an idea of what Operator can do. We have also collaborated with various brands like OpenTable, AllRecipes, StubHub, Uber, Thumbtack, DoorDash, eBay, Target, to make sure Operator really works well on these websites, but also we think users will find Operator very valuable in interacting with these platforms.
All right, so what did we learn here? Well, first is that it's a completely different product from ChatGPT. Okay, it's not ChatGPT, it's Operator. So it will have its own interface, which does look very similar to the interface of ChatGPT, obviously. We've seen on the screen that there is a list of buttons underneath the input box, the input window where you put your prompt. And these would be sort of shortcuts to perform specific tasks, specific actions. Also, I've read on the OpenAI's website that you will be able to save specific actions to this homepage of Operator for tasks that you run regularly, for example, like grocery or stuff like that, or regular tasks. And also we've seen that it will work with different apps or websites that are kind of like connected to Operator, or they seem to be connected. And these apps or websites kind of remind me of the plugins that used to exist in ChatGPT. Plugins is a feature that has been sunsetted by OpenAI, so it's been replaced by the custom GPTs. And now we have this. So we have these apps that will work with Operator, that Operator can call and trigger to run specific tasks. All right, now let's jump into that demo because we all want to see Operator actually operating, right? So let's get into it.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with something fairly simple. I'm gonna use OpenTable and say, book me a table for 2 at Beretta tonight at 7 p.m. Okay.
And so you specifically chose OpenTable.
Yeah, in this case, I'm asking Operator to use OpenTable to book a table for 2 at Beretta. Beretta is a restaurant in San Francisco. It's great. You should try it out. And at 7 p.m. And I'm using OpenTable in this case, but I could have easily said, just do Beretta, and it would have probably gone to search engine, figured out how to make a reservation as well. But let's see what it does.
So can you explain what's happening in this?
Yeah, right. So I'm going to expand this a little bit. So as soon as I typed in the query, operator instantiated a completely remote browser. This browser is running in the cloud somewhere. And as you can see, it's already up and running. And my hands are off the keyboard. I'm not typing these things.
So this is just the AI's clicking around.
AI is just clicking around. It started this browser session. It knew where OpenTable website is, which is opentable.com.
So we can see in the demo that what operator does is that it opens this browser, and then without anyone touching the computer, the agent will be operating the browser. So it will perform some actions, it will click, it will move around the screen, push the buttons, scroll down, basically take any normal action a human would do if it was to perform that task of booking a table at that restaurant at 7 p.m. via that specific app, OpenTable. So it's pretty cool that you can see all of the different actions that operator is taking. And yeah, that's where we are.
As you can see, it's summarized chain of thought here as well, which is gone to the URL, search for Beretta, and something cool really happened, which is for some reason, OpenTable thought we were in Virginia, and it auto-corrected itself to San Francisco. This is using, so like ChatGPT, in Operator, you can also give custom instructions. I'm gonna show this really quickly here. Okay, so I've given a custom instruction that for queries that need it, I live in San Francisco. So Operator recognized that and then auto-corrected itself to go to Beretta.
Okay, so we've seen operator run into a first problem, or we didn't really see it, but the engineer from OpenAI explained what happened to us. It seemed that operator was confused for a second and thought that the user operating was located in Virginia, where they really were in San Francisco. But it was able to autocorrect itself, according to Yash from OpenAI, and realize it was in San Francisco. So there is this ability for the tool to reason. And also, they showed us something else, is that operator is compatible with the custom instructions. So the same custom instructions you can use for ChatGPT to allow you to further customize the output you're getting. When right here, Yash had mentioned in the custom instructions that if it's needed for a specific task, that he was located in San Francisco in a specific zip code. So this information was inputted in the custom instruction, and that's probably what helped operator autocorrect itself when it thought the user was actually located in Virginia when it comes to booking that restaurant table. Now, one thing that would be really cool is if operator could immediately tap into the memory of ChatGPT. I don't know if you're aware, but ChatGPT has a large memory, well, specifically if you are a paid user. And that memory means that the more you prompt, the more you input information about you, about your context, about your, your business or whatever, ChatGPT will remember some of that information and store it in its memory. And you can actually go in the settings and see whatever information is contained in memory. You can update it, you can delete some of it. But yeah, so if operator was able to directly access ChatGPT's memory about a specific user, it would already have and immediately have a lot of information that would help customize the experience even further. I'm sure the guys at OpenAI thought about that. It's probably something that is being developed. They didn't quite mention it in the live stream though. I just thought, oh, it would be a cool feature to have for operator to tap into this memory.
Okay, looks like 7 p.m. isn't available, but you know what? 7:45 is just fine. So we're gonna go do that. So in this case, operator came back, and this is a really good example of task delegation where operator needs help or needs assistance or just wants to ask you something. It'll just come back and you answer that
So
query.
in practice, you wouldn't have had to watch this. You could have just let it go off while you're doing other things. Then it would come back and say, hey, I can't do 7:45.
Totally.
Yeah.
And we're starting with a web app. You'll get notifications, etc. When operator moves into mobile, you'll get mobile notifications, much like interactions we do with general apps.
Okay, so in this last passage of the video, we learn a few additional things. The first one is that all of the actions are performed in that web browser. browser, and that this web browser is located in the cloud. It's not using the web browser from your computer, it's using its own web browser. So we learn later in the video that for this particular task, or one of the tasks they showed in the video, it was using Microsoft Bing. But this could vary from one to the other, but knowing that OpenAI actually has a partnership with Microsoft, it would make sense that it's using Microsoft's web browser. So the tasks are performed in a web browser. It can run on its own, so you don't need to be watching what it does. You can start and launch the task in a tab or with operator running, and then just go about doing your things. And if operator needs you, it will send you a notification. So right now, operator runs on the web version of ChatGPT, but there are plans apparently to also introduce that feature to mobile, probably at some point as well to the desktop apps on both iOS and Windows. So you will receive the appropriate notification. If you're on your phone, you probably get a push notification. If you are on your desktop, you probably get a system notification. And it will send you a notification whenever it needs to make a critical next action or take a decision that will have an impact, an important impact on whatever it's doing. This could be, for example, confirming your reservation. So you'll receive a notification whenever operator needs your help, kind of to unblock it so it can go forward and continue with the process of running the task. We've seen that it works with other apps or websites that seem to be integrated in ChatGPT, but we will learn later in the live stream again that it's not limited to that. So it's not like when using the plugins that ChatGPT was limited to these plugins. And we'd also see the difference between these older plugins that have been discontinued and what operator is actually doing, how it's doing it. It's different, and we'll learn about that later. So it works with these apps, with these websites, but it's not limited to them. So it means if you don't specify that you want to use, I don't know, DoorDash or Uber or Instacart for running your task, operator will just launch the web browser and try to figure it out by itself. So that's very important to know. It's not limited to these different apps, to these different websites that seem to be connected, that you can call directly via the prompt box. And finally, like I already mentioned, it's on web for now, but there are plans to bring operator to mobile. Let's continue. This is interesting.
Okay, yes, that's great. Let's do it. Okay, so again, very simple interaction as you would have with an assistant, which is, hey, I found reservations, 7 p.m. wasn't available, let's do 7:45. And again, you can see operator at this point has said, okay, should I? Again, this is a really good example of the confirmations work we're going to talk about a little bit later. But before doing an action, which is sort of irreversible in this case, you can cancel the reservation, obviously. But again, taking a critical action, operator is asking us before actually doing it. And in this case, I'm going to say, let's do it.
Okay, so here what we saw is that operator kind of double checked if the user really wanted to make that reservation. So that's one of the safety measures that OpenAI has put in place. And maybe they will relax that in the future, or maybe the more a user uses operator, the less of these confirmations it will need to give operator. But I think it's very important to have these safeguards. So you don't want to book or to buy something by mistake and then regret it, and then how do you go back? Like, how do you undo whatever has been done? So what happened here is that I've seen Yash saying, okay, let's do 7:45 then, because couldn't find a table for 7 p.m. So 7:45, it said, okay, let's go for 7:45. And then operator kind of like summed up the entire thing again and said, do you want me to make that reservation? So it was asking for kind of a second confirmation, because maybe the first confirmation was too informal. I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but it wasn't very formal. So again, received another message to confirm. That confirmation process is very important. And we'll see later in this video that this is part of the safety measures that have been put in place by OpenAI for operator to run safely. So after that first demo, the OpenAI people sitting at that table showed more examples of what operator could do. And the second demo they ran was was about grocery shopping. And for that second demo, the grocery shopping experience, they wanted to show the ability of operator to have vision. So vision, for those of you who don't remember what it is or who don't know what it is this ability that ChatGPT 4o has to see whatever you upload in an image. So you could take a photo of whatever is in your fridge, upload that into ChatGPT 4o, and it will actually see through what's in that picture. It will recognize either text, instructions, objects, whatever. It will just understand what's in the picture. And so what we learned here is that operator does have access to vision. Let's see how it works.
So I have a shopping list here, which is this one. Let's see what it is. Eggs, spinach, mushrooms, chicken thighs, chili crunch.
So this is a picture that you're uploading here.
That's exactly right. And I'm gonna use Instacart, which is again what we use generally. Can you buy this for me, please? And I'll also specify the store I like, which is, well, let's see if he figures out I mistyped it, but let's see.
So they uploaded the photo of that grocery list. They prompted calling the app or the website, Instacart, and mentioning that they had a preference for the items to be purchased at a specific vendor, Gus, or Gus's Market, I think it's called. So after that, operator got working and it started using the browser again, using the Instacart website, and basically started searching for these specific products. And when operator was busy running the task, the other dude from OpenAI, I think his name is Ray, the guy with the white shirt, took that opportunity to explain to everyone what powers this new tool, operator, and give people watching the live stream a little bit of a behind the scene of what's going on. Let's have a listen.
So operator is based on the new model we've trained at OpenAI, which we're calling the computer using agent, or CUA for short. So CUA is a model built off of GPT-4o, but it's also trained to use and control a computer in the same way that humans can by just looking at the screen and using a mouse and keyboard to control it.
All right, let's recap what Ray said and what we learned here about what powers operator. Okay, so it's powered by a new model that OpenAI developed called CUA, and CUA stands for Computer Using Agent. Okay, so CUA, C-U-A. It's based on GPT-4o. We already know that. It has vision capabilities. We already know that. And it uses advanced reasoning through reinforcement learning. They didn't say that in the live stream, but I read that on the OpenAI's blog post or announcing the launch of Operator. And finally, we learned that it has been trained to use computers just like humans do. And specifically, these web browser experience where they can navigate, move the mouse, and do pretty much every single movement and action that a human would do.
Before, if you wanted to build something like Operator without CUA, you'd need to use some specialized APIs. For example, if you wanted your model to buy stuff from Instacart, you'd need to figure out if Instacart had an API. You'd need to figure out if that API had all the functions that it needed, and you need to give your model the specs of that API. But if your site, like most other websites, did not have an API, then you're out of luck.
So this is just using screenshots, no API, nothing, just
no
working.
API, yes. And that's where CUA comes in. By teaching a model how to use the same basic interface that we use on a daily basis, it just unlocks a whole new range of software that it can use that was previously inaccessible.
Now, this is very interesting. CUA does not require APIs to interact with these apps or these websites, which is very different from what we were used to with OpenAI and with these plugins that we had before. Now, the technology that they're using is that CUA is constantly taking screenshots after every single action it performs, and it knows pretty much where it is in the workflow by looking and understanding these screenshots. So no API needed. Instead, it just uses a web browser and performs action just like a human would do, being guided by these screenshots it's constantly taking. So this obviously is a much more flexible way to work with different apps, work with different third-party websites, and most importantly, it unlocks a lot of other websites or apps that might not have an API. So APIs were kind of like only for the bigger apps, the apps that had like the means to build such an API and make it public to developers to build with. But now, because it doesn't require access via an API, every website potentially could be used by the Kua model so that operator can operate, which could have some very interesting applications. For example, let's imagine like you could be a very good graphic designer, okay? You could grab some knowledge on ChatGPT, dump this into Kua or maybe in the custom instructions and ask operator to then go to canva.com and create some visuals for you, for your social media, for your website, for your newsletter, for anything really, applying the graphic design knowledge that you have been feeding it. Imagine operator navigating and operating Canva just like it was operating OpenTable or Instacart to perform the previous task. I'm just wondering, how far are we from that day? Like, where is the technology? Like, where do we stand in terms of the technological advancement to be able to perform such a thing?
So now you're seeing maybe the search results page for eggs in Instacart. So Kua understands this. It's just seeing the raw pixels. And after Kua sees this image, it decides what to do next. So right now it's making some inner monologues, and this is the summarized chain of thought. So what Kua is doing is, according to it, it's selecting organic eggs and adding it to the cart.
It's the reasonable thing to do. Now, this worries me just a little bit. So we are seeing operator choosing which type of eggs it needs to put in my basket in Instacart for my grocery, okay? Just imagine the commercial opportunity for OpenAI. Are we going to see a brand new type of advertisement or commercial opportunity, affiliate marketing? I don't know how to call it, even like agent marketing, I don't know. But like, who tells me that the decision has not been influenced by some commercial interest at some point of which item is being put in my basket?
Okay, so you see that it performed a click on this add button right here. So that's very reasonable. Now, every time Kua does an action, it takes the next screenshot of the computer so that it knows, what effect its action had on the computer. So let's see what happens next. Yep, okay, so after clicking on the add button, now you see it in the cart. And this just kind of keeps continuing.
So that's how Kua works. It takes screenshots, based on that makes a specific action, then take another screenshot, and then keeps going on like this until it actually goes through the entire list of broken down tasks that put together will just perform the goal that you have set for operator. Now, one thing that we should know, one important thing is that users can take over whatever operator is doing and take back the control of these actions that are being taken at any given moment. So users can always take back the control. There's a button that says take control. When you hit that button, you will be in command. Now, that is important, and that's exactly what Yash is going to be doing here, because the order is kind of being put in the cart, but he realized he needs more eggs in this order. So let's see how he does that.
You know what? I want a little bit more eggs. I think we eat a lot of eggs. Okay, so what I can do at this point, and I'm going to just click this button called Take Control. So this remote, as we were talking about, like operator fires up this remote browser to do it. We almost think of it as surface area where operator can work and then I can work. For example, in this case, I took over control from operator, which is also key to sort of how we think about user and user controls. Like at any point in time, a user should be able to take control and give operator instructions or tell a little bit more, guide a little bit more, etc.
It's like passing the laptop back and forth, just like you did with Ray.
Totally, exactly right. Just like, in this case, I'm gonna make those two, and then I'm just gonna tell operator. This is again like very much like if you and I were working, I'd be like, hey, I did this. Can you fix this? And I'm gonna tell operator, I added another egg. Good to place order now.
Can operators see what you're doing during takeover mode?
Great point. So when you take over, it's very much just like a session with your local browser. It's completely private. Operator cannot see. And this is part of the reasons why I have to tell operator, or you don't really have to. It can look at the last screenshot and try to guess it. But is really good. It's sort of like if you and I were working together, I went off and did something and I come back like, Ray, I completely messed it up. Can you fix this? Gonna have to tell you that. So in this case, I'm gonna tell operator, hey, go ahead. And now I'm passing back the control to operator.
So to recap, whenever you switch to takeover mode via the take control button, operator will stop whatever it's doing and you will be able to do anything just like you were doing your shopping yourself or buying your ticket yourself or whatever task is running at the moment. Also, the model and operator have been trained to give back that control whenever there is sensitive information to be dealt with. For example, payment methods or payment information, or maybe there is a CAPTCHA at some point in some app and you need a human to actually read and input the CAPTCHA. So these things will require you to take back over the control. So now what I'm going to do is to skip the video forward a bit more because the team is just going to open multiple windows and run more tasks simultaneously. And if I remember correctly, they will search for an available tennis court, they will buy tickets to a basketball game, they will try to book a house cleaner, and they will order barbecue pizzas for the entire OpenAI team. Now, one thing that is going to be really important when it comes to rolling out agents like operator massively for OpenAI is ensuring that these agents perform a safe environment in a safe manner. Because this is a tremendously powerful tool that can do a lot and very quickly. And put into the hands of bad actors or people with ill intentions, this could be potentially very dangerous. So OpenAI has put together a bunch of measures like safety and privacy measures that have been thought to protect everyone, to protect users, but also protect websites and OpenAI platform from any liability, really. So let's dive a little bit deeper into these safety measures.
Yeah, so I think we're all very excited about this vision of operator doing your chores for you, but it is one of the first agents that we're putting out in the world and which has real world side effects. And so we thought carefully about how to deploy this safely. The framework we used to think about this was one centered around misalignment. So for example, what if the user is misaligned? So maybe they're asking for a harmful task, like buy a weapon or something like that.
Okay, so the framework they are using is the misalignment framework. And they have divided this misalignment between the three different actors actually using operator. The first one is obviously the user. Okay, operating ChatGPT or the product. A user could potentially type a harmful prompt or try to execute an harmful task or ask operator to run a harmful task. For example, they give the example of buying a weapon or buying illegal products, could be drugs, could be anything really. And in that case, well, what's going to happen, the mitigation or the solution that OpenAI has put in place, if something like this happens, is simply to refuse to perform the task, okay? So there are some built-in safety measures within the model so that it can recognize these harmful requests from a user. Then there is the second actor that could be misaligned, and that is the model itself. The model can make mistake and will make mistake. They announced it, they really insisted on that because they are rolling it out very soon, it's a research preview model still, so there will probably be mistakes and some with pretty bad consequences. That's what they've said. So an example, an operator makes a mistake and buys the wrong item, okay? Like buys the wrong basketball ticket for the wrong game, for example. So mitigation here would be to have these constant confirmation checkpoints. What we've seen in the video when it comes to take a critical action, well, that's the best way to avoid making mistakes is to double check. So that's what we've seen. I believe this will slowly become less of a thing the more the agent would know the user, right? If you perform the same task every week. All right, so let me quickly sum up these safety and privacy measures. Takeover mode, okay, so that is when you take over via the take control button to input sensitive information into the browser, such as your login credentials for specific platforms or payment information. User confirmations, okay, to mitigate the wrong choices from the model, from the operator. Before finalizing a significant action, you will be asked to confirm. And then task limitation, decline certain sensitive tasks, okay, whatever is dangerous, illegal, or just harmful. And then watch mode, we haven't seen any of that in the demo, but I've read about it on particularly sensitive sites, such as an email or financial services. And this is probably the model or the operator itself asking, prompting user to get into watch mode. Like, hey, we need your attention here. We are doing something sensitive that could potentially have some consequences for you. So just keep watching what is going on here and just pay attention. And I'm not gonna get into them, but there are also some privacy measures that you can find if you wish to read them on the OpenAI's article on their website. All right, final thoughts and things I'm looking forward to. So that was an astonishing video for me to watch. I spent the entire day learning more about this. And if you enjoyed the video, just give me a good old like. This will definitely help the channel, help us as creator. First thought, I want to have access to this. I'm in Europe, in Barcelona, I don't have access. Also, I'm not paying the Pro plan, I'm on the Plus plan. So I imagine this is going to be a couple of weeks, if not months, for this product to reach me. So I'm a little bit sad about this, but hey, it's not OpenAI's fault per se, not entirely. The EU, European Union, and institutions are probably more picky about these types of products being rolled out in the European Union. So that's also a political landscape. But yeah, it's very promising. And I think this product could be more awesome, more fluid, more promising, more natural, more helpful if it had access to advanced voice mode. Imagine doing everything that we've seen in these demos with your voice, with voice command instead of prompting. That would be pretty awesome, to be honest. Also, we've seen all of the demos being purchasing stuff. Now, these are useful everyday tasks that I do in my normal life. But what about doing some work stuff? Like, could we have an agent that actually works for me instead of doing my shopping and my groceries? That would be interesting. Now, when OpenAI said, this is our first agent, we're going to start small, maybe that's what they meant. Like maybe they're not releasing the full shebang right now because they need more user feedback. They need to kind of fine tune the mechanics before really giving us the Ferrari. So maybe that's what's going on. I hope that's where we are going. I hope it's not going to increase the price even more because it's already very expensive. But hey, I would love to see more work-related agents capable of running tasks for my business. Now, will operator or similar agent be able to operate not just a web browser, but our entire system, our entire computer, or our phone at some point? They seem to have hinted that this was already possible, but it's not yet baked into a product that OpenAI has put on the market. That would definitely unlock more possibilities if instead of just a web browser, it could, I don't know, edit a video or publish on LinkedIn or, like do some research on specific websites and then summarize the information in ChatGPT, copy that into a document and then create a visual in Canva and blah, 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 blah. Basically do my job. Once again, OpenAI was the first mover in this space, right? They shipped agent first. They were the first to put it out there in the market into the hands of the people and setting the tone. They've done that with ChatGPT in 2022, and they are now doing this with Operator, the first real user-friendly agent out there on the market for people to play around with. I admit, rich people that can pay $200 a month in the US, but I mean, it's something. They have put it out there. They are the first company to really make agent mainstream because this will become mainstream. This will be the way we do things in the near future. There is no doubt about this. If you're still doubting about this, maybe you don't like what you're seeing. Maybe you feel uncomfortable seeing that, thinking, oh, am I gonna lose my job? So this is really my whole point with my decision to start this new channel. I want to teach you guys how to be literate, how to be fluent in that technology. And this is where I'm going to leave it for today. Here is another video about ChatGPT you should probably be watching. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.